Hurt the flesh, salt the wound.
So, Burhan,
Yes.
we actually played Borderlands 3 recently at 2K Games office, Take-Two's office in Singapore.
Yep.
We checked it out a little bit, about 2 hours worth, right?
About 2 hours.
Yeah. So we get to play Flak, the new character that was announced recently for Borderlands 3, as well as maybe just checked out Moze just for good measure,
Yeah.
and also checked out the new level that was just released. Previewed for the media, which is Eden-6.
Yes. The
So-
swamp planet.
Yep. That was kind of swampland, and then you actually went into like the water ship thing.
Yeah. There was a
Yeah.
wreck ship.
Yeah, with a robot. Actually, you're being led by an AI who is actually voiced by Ice-T for some reason.
Yeah, I was surprised. But he delivered it perfectly.
Yeah, it just
was great.
sounded. I don't know if it actually is playing a character or it's just playing Ice-T, who just happens to be in the Borderlands
I
universe.
think he's just playing himself.
Oh man, I'm out, man. Damn, it was nasty as hell in there. But what I'm solving is the anti-collision safeguards, which I just turned off. Navigate it, bitches!
I guess that's the humor that Borderlands 3 is trying to hone for, like not that serious but not that forced either in that
Yeah,
sense.
exactly.
Yeah. So of course I gotta ask you, since you've touched this game quite a lot. So what do you think of it? Initial impressions?
Well, what I can say is that if you're a fan of the Borderlands series already, then you're gonna love this game. It's more of what Borderlands is known for. It's obviously more guns. It's the new Vault Hunters are great. They're fun to play, and this whole feature that you can have more than one active skill, that's amazing. I mean, it's so much fun.
Oh yeah. Tell us more about that. When we were using Flak, I believe you can have one pet from any of the skill trees. As long as you get to the correct level, you can either have your spider ant, your Jabber, yes.
And
I was
then-
gonna say monkey.
Alright, it's kind of a monkey.
It is a
anyway.
monkey,
Yeah.
yes. It's the Borderlands monkey, except
Yep.
with the wide eye and
Yep.
everything. And of course, everybody's favorite Skag.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
And you can actually put an augment on your pet.
Yep.
You can actually have your spider ant on fire, for example. Or then you have your skill, which can also be augmented as well.
Yep.
So you got one skill and one pet. I believe Flak himself, he has 3 different skills. Maybe you want to talk about them?
Okay, so when I got to play the demo, I toyed around mostly with the skill tree that focuses on Flak's cloaking ability. It was called Fade Away. So basically, you'd go invisible, and then you'd be invisible for a limited amount of time. And then if you shot 3 times, you would go out invisibility. But all those 3 shots are critical hits. And
Regardless of where you're aiming, right?
Exactly, regardless of where you're aiming. And the fun thing about this playstyle is that when you have a pet with you who can aggro enemies and also dish out damage, the moment you cloak away, everyone's gonna be focused on the pet. So if you have something really devastating like a shotgun or a rocket launcher, it's an easy kill because they're all critical hits. It's so good. And then aside from his fade away cloaking skill, another skill tree focuses on his ability to create a rift. So basically, wherever you're aiming, you press the active skill button, it creates a rift and instantly teleports your pet in the middle and gives your pet a buff. So
The radiation buff, right? If I recall.
Yep. So your pet gets a buff and then it pulls all enemy towards it, and then you can start dishing out damage. Sorry.
Oh
You can
yeah,
start
that's
dishing
pretty
out
awesome.
damage.
That's
It's
pretty awesome.
good. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of spot. And then the last one is the one where you can summon a rack from anywhere.
Yep. That's
I think you can actually summon like a few of them at one go before you have to reset the cooldown, I believe.
The active skill actually, when you first unlock it, it's 2 racks,
Yeah.
and then it has 2 charges. So you can send out 2, and then there's a 1 second buffing period, and then you can send out another 2, and then there's a cooldown. Yep.
I think you can send multiple ones as you go down to the skill tree.
Yep. There's one. There's one of the augments that you unlock about on the 3rd or 4th tier that adds an additional rack to it. Yeah.
This actually reminds me of Mordecai from the first game, his Bloodwing skill.
Yeah. Correct.
Except now you can send as many as you can.
Yep.
And I'm not sure, maybe they have a boomerang effect as well, or maybe they even have a corrosive effect, who knows.
The ones actually when you unlock them by default, they have a fire attack.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
okay.
they apply flame damage, and then they don't just go towards one enemy. So as long as they're still alive, the racks will fly around the stage and hit multiple enemies.
And of course, to balance things out, the rack do have little HP.
Yep.
But they can be very potent when you just blindside you straight.
Correct. It's good for DPS actually because they have elemental damage.
Mhm.
It's good for DPS. So yeah.
what about the other skills? What do you think are the more suited roles for each of the other skills?
Like for example, let's say if you're playing with a class that's focused on fade away, and also let's say you don't have to use the pet that's associated with the skill. So let's say you want to use a fade away skill, but you want to use either
The spider ants.
the spider ants or the jabbers. You can choose, or even the skag. And so if you focus on spider ants, you have the ability to imbue your spider ants with certain elemental perks. So together with fadeaway, and you can get crits on that. So if you can use a melee one weapon, switch elements, it's a devastating effect. There's that as well. Yeah, that's just one of the many things you can do. This is one of the great things about the new way that they've created the class structure, is that it's like initially you think you have like 3 or 4 playstyles, but then you start experimenting with the options and everything. It's like dozens of ways to play the characters. It's great. Yeah.
We're coming up on the security hole. It'll be right around. Oh, crap. I'm navigating again. You know what? You find it.
Who did you fight at the end of the entire that mission? I mean, how did the structure go for you?
Okay, so I don't want to spoil what the mission is, because it's really fun. It's a really hilarious quest. Like I think both you and I, we were like laughing along a few times.
Yeah. Like the actual quest itself is like you go to a section, you kill a bunch of enemies. You go to another section, Ice-T presses buttons. There's a comedic thing involving mating ritual calls as well.
Yep.
And then it invited a bunch of enemy jabbers coming in. It actually got a bit confusing when I was playing that section, especially when I had my own jabber to play with to actually help me out.
Exactly.
So I ended up shooting my jabber half the time. But it didn't damage him, of course.
Yep.
But it was like, wow, there's so many things going on. I can't imagine what's going to happen if I'm playing like true Vault Hunter mode, especially. So what do you think of the boss fight that we actually came through?
Okay, so in that quest, we had this at the end of the demo that we played, we faced up again this boss, which was
a cool looking robot, actually.
A cool looking robot, yes. And it was really, it was hectic. It was super hectic.
Like it was summoning all those orbs that actually were firing lasers at you.
Yep. It would launch like satellites.
Oh, those satellites as well.
Yep.
Those satellites. And then when it was actually dashing, after you can see like a little particle effect, and then it actually creates shields.
Shields, yeah.
Which
that was
makes
really
you
surprising.
that was actually fun, because it actually forces your character to go forward to fight against the robot.
Exactly, because you would think that since she's very dangerous up close, you would want to stay from afar.
Yeah,
but
but
then
she ends up doing
shields,
that. Yes.
So you have to get close.
Yeah, because when you fire through the shields, it takes about maybe 3, 4, 5 bullet hits. So it absorbs a lot.
Correct.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then it summons minions, which actually would be helpful when you're playing in like single player mode.
Yep.
But again, as we have said before time and again, Borderlands 3 is a co-op game.
It is.
Yeah, I believe that's really cool that they have these kind of bosses where it actually scales up according to who you're fighting.
Yep.
So I'm guessing the fights itself will get a lot more hectic, especially with bosses like this robot.
Yep. And I think it's also worth noting that the mission that we played, we were a bit under leveled for the fight.
Yeah, we're like one level below, fighting the boss.
And even then it was pretty challenging.
Yeah,
it got very challenging. So I think, this game, I think this time they really want to emphasize on that whole thing of playing with your friends, so that it's not just about dishing out damage and making sure you stay alive, but also like coordinating with your friends, how to do the attacks and everything. It's typical Borderlands co-op, but it feels more, like they're challenging you even more this time. Yeah.
What's really cool about this Borderlands is it actually does pay respects to its previous predecessor titles.
It does.
In a sense that, there are actually some old weapons that actually showed up, but in Borderlands 3 fashion, like Vladov's Shreddifier.
Yeah, the Shreddifier.
I was actually using it in another game. And wow, okay, when apparently the new perk this weapon has now is it actually has double chain barrels itself.
Yep.
So when you select it through out fire mode, I think I was dealing a lot more damage.
Yep.
And because Moze actually has a skill that actually makes you regenerate bullets, which gets critical hits.
Critical hits, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I can keep firing that gun over and over and over.
I tried out that gun a bit, and I would say it was my favorite gun throughout the whole demo. Because
what about the other guns? I mean, apart from that being your favorite.
Okay, like during my playthrough as Flak, I got myself I think it was a Jacob shotgun. So in Borderlands 3, the new perk for the Jacob's guns is that if you score a critical hit, the bullets will ricochet and bounce off to another enemy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. So it's also cool because whenever you do get a critical hit, they have this like this bullet bouncing off kind of sound to let you know that, hey, your bullets are being bouncing off. So that's pretty cool. And since it's a shotgun, there's at least 2 or 3 bullets that are guaranteed criticals. So we're playing together using flak, and when you get out of your fade away skill, the bullets actually light up in blue. So the level will be filled up with blue bullets just bouncing around. It's so cool.
Let's improvise. Hot wiring, that's a thing, right? Grab those wires. Oh, crap. That's not how it works in the Echo shows.
Any final thoughts you want to say before we close off this particular preview?
I would say if you are excited for Borderlands 3 already,
This demo, when we played it, it kind of reaffirmed that.
yeah, it would. A lot of us felt that we want the game right now. A lot of us felt that way, and
Which
if
is a good
you're-
sign. Which is a good sign.
It's a great sign. And if you're a newcomer, if you've never played a single Borderlands game, you don't have to worry too much. Even Paul Sage himself said that the team worked very hard on making sure that if you don't know anything about Borderlands, you're still gonna feel very comfortable with it, because even if there are gonna be past characters coming back, they'll introduce them, and then in terms of mechanics and all the quality of life features, it's actually a big improvement compared to the past game. For example, I want to mention the sliding.
Yeah.
You can now slide, and it feels great.
Yeah.
It feels really good.
You think it was actually an unnecessary addition, but it actually is. It
actually
feels
is.
great.
It feels great. And so if you're new to the series and you want to check it out, I would totally recommend you trying out Borderlands 3. Like if you think that you want to skip 2, go ahead, go for 3. But if you think you're not prepared, start with 2. 2 is actually pretty good. Yeah.
I can't see